I'm Doug Stone, Scout Executive for the Indian Waters Council, Boy Scouts of America. Welcome to the Soup, Stone Soup, where we dish out ideas and hopefully some inspiration to help keep you plugged in to scouting. I'm joined today by the Superintendent of Richland School District 1, Dr. Craig Witherspoon. Dr. Witherspoon, welcome. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Yeah.
Well, we are really appreciative of the strong support that you provide our scouting families and our organization here in the Midlands, Dr. Witherspoon, and particularly you're supportive of our Scout Reach program that reaches out in hard to serve communities. Why is all that important to you, your support of scouting and in that way?
Well, certainly as superintendent and certainly a proud supporter of scouting, we know that any and all opportunities we can have for students to be engaged with each other, with self-improvement, with giving back to their community, all of the things that scouting has to offer for young people. It certainly goes hand in hand with what we do in a school system to what we call educate the whole child. So if we can provide those opportunities, it's better for the student growing up. They're better, more engaged in their community, with their families, with their classmates, and it just makes for a better civic community. It just helps all the way around. So glad to be a supporter. I remember my days as a Cub Scout and what that meant to me growing up in those early years. So whatever I can do to give back and support these future generations is so very meaningful. So glad to be a supporter and glad to do all that I can.
Well, your support is meaningful to us and we appreciate it very much. And it is challenging these days with the pandemic and with the social isolation that we're having to keep our families plugged into scouting. And I know that it's difficult to keep families and students plugged in to their school system, even though the school year is winding down. And can you share with us a little bit about those challenges for you?
It's very challenging. We're here in Columbia, and we cover almost 500 square miles, and we have very diverse student population, diverse families, and so forth. So some are certainly connected via the internet, Zoom meetings, and Microsoft Teams, and all of those things where teachers and we all can engage. But some of our families do not have that access. So the challenge for us is to still, as you're doing through this, and the challenge for us is to make sure that whatever way, various means, that we can stay connected as well. Whether that's phone calls, whether that's driving through communities and just waving and say, hey, we're here and we're thinking about you, or social media or what have you. So we continue to find ways to outreach, to support certainly the academics with that work. We distributed, for example, over 30,000 learning packets because some of our students don't have internet access. But that involvement, that engagement still needs to happen. So that means some of our teachers may have needed to make phone calls. Again, I remember thinking back early on when schools closed, I rode with one of our schools, HB Rame, and we went to several communities to give out learning packets, and we went to one of the apartment complexes and left packets there. But students who came by, again, early on, and parents glad to get those packets and so forth. So we do have to be creative and flexible in how we outreach and how we engage. But that engagement is so very, very crucial and very, very important so that they know, again, we're thinking about them, we care about you, and how do we keep their social and emotional state high as well, because we are in a time of social distancing and having to be apart, and not to sound cliche-ish, but we are separated, but we're still together. We're still one community, if you will, and every opportunity that we can take to reinforce that and support that, we need to do.
Well, and the families of Richland One School District, I know are frustrated, just as our scouting families are. They want to get our kids out of the house and really out into the great outdoors. And it's a frustrating time for everybody, particularly as we go into the summer months.
Yeah.
What encouragement, Dr. Witherspoon, would you have to the Richland One families and all of our scouting families throughout the Midlands to stay plugged in and keep their scouting spirits up?
Absolutely. What I would say again, the information that we've been sharing with you, continue to take that to heart. Just as as we've got a couple more weeks of school left, and some of the packets and information that our teachers and schools are sharing include some science activities that may go outside and interact with nature and so forth, so that again, we don't feel so isolated, but we tweak our curriculum so that we take advantage, if you will, of the situation in terms of how we can continue that learning. Now, going into the summer, the same thing. Every year we purchase books. We supply a number of books to our students at the lower grades. So as they get back to some of the outdoor activity of summer, still we want that learning to still continue. But again, be safe, but also using the guidelines that are put forth, but still continue to enjoy outdoors and those interactions that you can have safely, so that we do keep our spirits up. This is a new normal, and we're still in the midst of that. So that being said, as we get used to this, if you will, how do we stay engaged? How do we keep our spirits lifted? Support each other, and again, all of those things that we want to do as a school system, but all of those things we want to do in scouting. Those activities that bring us together, that cause us to know that again, together we're greater than one individual. That if we're working together for a cause or for something greater than ourselves, it lifts us all up. So we want to continue to get that word out, continue to encourage our families, our students, and our entire community, because again, we are in it together, and with that support, we'll get through this and continue to move forward.
Well, as we look towards the fall and the future, I know in scouting, something that you've given great leadership to has been what we call the Whitney M. Young Junior Service Awards dinner, which we're looking at this point to incorporate with another event, to make it one large event that hopefully we can pull off in September 29th. Is now a date that we're shooting for. This will include the recipient of the Whitney M. Young Junior Service Award is Heisman Trophy winner from USC, George Rogers. And we also have this, and that's going to be a luncheon hosted by, we hope, the Governor McMaster. He's got it on his schedule, and including the speaking part of the president of the University of South Carolina, President Caslin, who's the father of 3 Eagle Scouts.
Yeah. So
that's something that we have to look forward to, and we appreciate your leadership with that event, as you've done for quite a while. And so we have something to aspire for as it relates to that, to help keep scouting going.
Absolutely.
And in closing, Dr. Witherspoon, what aspirations and hopes do you have, perhaps specifically or in general, for our scouting families and those you serve in Richland One School District?
Absolutely. I would say to our families, both with regard to scouting and the school system, again, continue to stay encouraged, uplifted. I'm glad to hear we're certainly continuing with the Whitney M. Young award. It's been a pleasure, as you've indicated, for a number of years to support that, and we'll continue to do so as well. So that being said, you know, we will continue to do things to support scouting. It may look a little different, it may get delayed a little bit, but the fact remains we will still support scouting and its efforts as we move forward, because we know there's so much good that comes from it. So whatever I can do, whatever we can do as a school system to support those scouting activities for our young people, again, it helps us all. So looking forward to continuing to stay engaged and continuing to stay supportive.
Richland 1 School District Superintendent, Dr. Craig Witherspoon, a great scouting supporter and a great leader of our community and our families. Thank you so much for being a part of this edition of Stone Soup. And we appreciate it very much, and we wish you all the best as the school time wraps up and we head into summer, into the fall. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you.